Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, Trust Talks and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each episode of our program, we hope to give you a better idea of what to expect, what to look for, and what to watch out for so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. Wedding planning, it can be stressful, but your big day doesn't have to be if you hire the right people. You know, the last thing anyone wants on their big day is to deal with businesses that can't deliver or even potential scammers. And that's why today we brought in some local experts to teach you how not to say I do to untrustworthy vendors. Nina Rivera, manager of Two Poor Guys Bartending and Catering in Wallingford. We have Dina Daddario, owner of Agnew Florist in Watertown, and Christina Joyner, owner of Elaborate Wedding and Event Planner out of Bristol. These are all BBB accredited businesses. So first of all, we have got a lot of questions. I want to go down the row and just let you introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your business. So Nina, I'll start with you. What a unique name, Two Poor Guys. Tell me where it came from and tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
So I'll just start by first saying that Two Poor Guys is one of the original mobile bar services in the state of Connecticut. It's been around for 20 years now, which is a pretty big deal. My father started it because he was working in IT at the time. I was a teenager and he wanted to make extra money for our family. So he was bartending weddings on the side. And when he was doing that, he realized that the industry was starting to change. People wanted to do more unique weddings, and he felt there to be a need for a mobile bar service to accommodate the outside the box weddings people were looking to have. So when he went to start the business, he was thinking of a name, and he was like, well, I have a teenage daughter who likes to spend all of my money, so I feel like a poor guy. So that was the inception of Two Poor Guys. The rest is history.
Are you the teenage daughter?
Unfortunately not anymore, but I was at the time.
And poor P-O-U-R because they're pouring drinks. You talked about unique weddings. I envision you're not at your regular ballroom type wedding. You probably have been invited to a lot of unique venues.
Amazing places. We've been to almost every corner of the state of Connecticut, and the venues we've seen are absolutely breathtaking. Parks, barns, farms. We've set up bars in the middle of fields on these gorgeous locations. It's really kind of an honor to be a part of that, and it's a great experience for not only us, but all of our staff.
And Dina, tell me a little bit about Agnew Florist, how you got started, and how long you've been a florist.
I've been a florist for over 20 years, and when we were looking for an established business, and Agnew Florist came along, and we didn't change it. I thought of all kinds of different names and whatnot, but we decided to keep Agnew Florist because it's been around for almost 100 years.
Wow.
So it's tried and true. We did put a tag name under it, Dina by Design, just so people would know that it's Agnew Florist, but Dina owns the business. And
you've been doing wedding flowers
since
that
day one.
Entire time. Wow. And Christina, what made you want to be a wedding planner?
I was one of the brides that hired a wedding planner. And ever since I seen the wedding planner that I hired, I just wanted to be a wedding planner.
You wanted to do that yourself. Why should couples hire a wedding planner?
Because I think we have the experience, not only the experience, we have the knowledge and we have the resources. And I think all that goes in hands, and that's why you should hire a professional.
Let's talk timelines now. How far in advance should couples sign a contract with you, Nina?
I think at least a year out, you're going to want to book your bar service. We're actually very, very blessed. We have a very robust staff. So I like to tell people it's never too late. Like, we've literally done an event that got booked on a Wednesday, we've done it on a Saturday. So I always tell people it's never too late to reach out. If you can get to us a year in advance, that's great. So we can really get involved in that planning process and help you with the big day. But if you're in a bind, say you hired someone who backed out or something happens, like, we are happy to jump in if we can and help.
And Dina, the rules might be a little different for floral, huh?
Absolutely not. No. I was going to say the exact same thing. A year is the best. is the best answer for that. But I just had a bride walk in, and the wedding is in 3 weeks. I have a robust staff. We're able to do it. So I hate to say no to a bride. I have 3 daughters. I hate to say no to a bride. So if we can do it, we'll do it.
And Christina, I imagine you signed the contract with the planner first, because then you're going to help them find all the other vendors.
Well, first we do a free consultation.
Okay.
And then from there we do 24 hours to 48 hours for them to sign a contract.
Decision.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about the venue? Should they nail down the venue first before they hire a wedding planner? Is
Well,
that first?
because they can either do a full service. Full service consists of we do everything for them. And then if they doing half planning, then they can go and immediately, I think they should start to look for a vendor first.
Because you'll also do day of,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay. Well, what information should be included in the contract? Contracts are important when we're planning weddings. Nina, as far as a bar goes, couples have different choices. There's open bar, there's cash bar.
Mm-hmm.
I remember at my wedding, you could pay in advance and they get refunded if everyone didn't drink as much as you expected, or you can pay by the drink. What should we be looking for in that contract?
So typically with us personally, we offer 2 kind of customizable options from that perspective. So we have an open bar where you would prepay a per person price, and that would be before everything happens at the wedding. So at the day of, everything's offered to your guests free of charge. And then we do a cash bar option where you would pay a setup fee up front, which covers your bartenders, insurance, setup items, and free non-alcoholic beverages for guests. And then guests would pay for their drinks. We've done partial open bars where it's the first 2 hours. I mean, I think that we've learned, even during the COVID times, that being nimble is a huge important thing. So we really work with them to customize something that meets their needs and preferences and budget.
Okay. And Dina, what do you absolutely need to have in your floral contract to make sure you get the flowers you want?
A deposit is important, and once I receive the deposit, the proposal goes out, the contract goes out. 3 weeks before the wedding is when we go over every single detail of the actual wedding day. At that point, it's not so much how many flowers, but how many bridesmaids, how many groomsmen, how many parents, how many centerpieces, the bridal bouquet, and the types of flowers. Mm-hmm. And that is absolutely important, imperative.
You only need to know 3 weeks in advance what type of flower she wants in her bouquet.
No. Yes and no. I don't like any surprises, huge surprises 3 weeks before, in advance. But having said that, if the bride changes the scope of the wedding 3 weeks before we can handle it.
Okay. And should you put the number of flowers in your bouquet? Like, I want 24 roses, or?
If a bride asks for that, that's very, very rare.
Oh,
usually what I go by is the style that the bride wants. And then the florist, the style predicates the amount of stems.
Okay, that makes sense. And Christina, when hiring a wedding planner, what should be in your contract?
My contract is, for one, I put my policies and procedures, and then step that we go by is all what we do as a wedding planner, and then let them know up front, what we do. If they want full service or the day of or partial service. So it's basically starting from A to Z in my contract.
Do you have any advice for couples when it comes to signing contracts with other types of vendors?
Read, because nobody reads. And definitely read the fine print, because just say if they want to back out, it's already in the contract. If they would have read, they would have known that. And they don't. I know I don't. They money. They refund or they refund. They don't get a part. They get like a percentage of their refund back.
Okay.
So they need to, like I said, read, because it's all in the contract.
Is it based on like how close it is to the event?
Yeah.
Like you get 10%.
14. Yeah. You have 14 weeks to cancel before. Yeah.
So look at those cancellation policies.
Yes.
What is a typical cancellation policy, Nina?
So typically we take a deposit upfront to book the day, and then payment in full isn't due till 2 weeks prior to the wedding or to the event when you have your final head count. I have to say, we're a family owned and operated business. If there's an extenuating circumstance, we are happy to give someone back their deposit. If there's a health issue, something that came up really unexpectedly, we want to try to be as accommodating to people as possible. We do put it in the contract that deposits are non-refundable, but I think that is up to your own opinion.
And do either of you want to add to that?
I totally agree with that. COVID, everyone got their deposits back. Those poor brides, they suffered enough. But you have to remember that when we book a wedding, that day is set aside. And so that deposit is non-refundable because we've said no to so many other weddings on that day. So barring an act of God or if something should happen, of course, we have heart, and this industry goes on by heart. And of course, we give those deposits back. But really, no.
Christina?
No for me.
Okay.
But like she said, if it's something like, of course, act of God, that nothing that we cannot handle, then we'll go ahead and give them their refund back. But the deposit that they give us is because we are already on the clock. Okay, we are already working for them.
That's exactly
day one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that deposit is kind of like taking care of what we have to do to prepare for the next step.
That makes sense. I was going to ask if we should be putting down a deposit or if we should stay away from vendors that ask for a deposit, but you all say, no, you ask for a deposit, so expect that. So you're going to have some money up front.
Yeah, because we're working.
Makes sense.
Well, we have to have a guarantee that we'll be doing that wedding that day. Otherwise, how will we know how many to take or not take, or can we take that wedding or not take it? So a deposit guarantees their place.
We talk so much about people being scammed by vendors, but I suppose you could be, as a vendor, scammed as well.
Oh, sure.
That's one reason too, yes.
Okay. We do get complaints about some unexpected fees, corkage fees, fees that go beyond the cost per person, such as plate splitting, cake cutting. What should couples know about those sort of extra fees?
So I think it's a thing to ask when you initiate the process, what are the hidden fees? And it's funny because I get asked that by brides and grooms all the time. And especially on the bar side, it is so easy. It's like, here's the per person cost plus Connecticut sales tax. Yep. And then we talk about the gratuity part of it is you can build that in, or you can put a tip cup on the bar, but we try to keep it really simple because I can't even tell you over the years, so many couples have come to me and said, I thought this was going to be so much cheaper, and then I didn't read the fine print, and there is this service charge and this travel fee and all of this stuff. And it's hard because sometimes people don't read the fine print, like you had said earlier. And so we try to keep pricing as simplistic as possible.
You brought up tipping. Are you supposed, if it's a vendor-owned business, like at my wedding, I wanted to tip the DJ, but the DJ owned his own business. I was like, do I tip them? I did, but I wasn't sure if that was the proper protocol. What say you guys about tipping?
So I think it depends on the vendor. Obviously, I think gratuity is an appreciated thing for all vendors. I think with tipping is, I think, structured differently depending on the vendor. So when it comes to bar services, you can build that into a contract, or you can have a tip cup out on the bar, which a lot of people do because I think people are expecting to do that sometimes. So a lot of people do that. Sometimes your caterer will include a service fee to cover that gratuity in your contract, so you don't have to double tip if that's included.
Oh, okay.
And I think as far as if it's an owner who's providing the service, you can if you want to. I think owners would also even more so appreciate great reviews as well online. Okay. So I think at the bottom line, it is a lot of your discretion when it comes to those owner-run businesses, because if they did a great job and you want to thank them for it, I think by all means you can.
Yes, also,
yes. I think tipping is extremely important. I'll tell you why. It's an owner-run business, but we have a staff. And I often say we're not delivering a product, we're delivering an emotion. And because of that, we put so much into the flowers that we deliver. And we care deeply. So should a bride tip? Yes, definitely. And with our tips, it goes into a little lockbox, and at the end of the year, and I've been able to do I was able to do this twice last year, is bring my staff out with all the tips that we received, which many brides were very generous. So it's an owner-run business, but my staff helped deliver that. Yeah. Okay. So we were not just tipping the owner.
Christina.
I agree with everything you say.
Yeah. As a planner, do you expect to get tipped?
Okay, I don't have that in my contract.
Okay.
But I don't expect it neither. Mm-hmm. But I do have some that give me tips and some that don't. But I don't expect it.
Okay.
But I know the work that I put in and is 100%. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know. They think you're just going up there just putting stuff up, but no, that comes with a lot of sweat and hard work.
That's right.
So
and I just love what I do too. So so I guess when they see what you do, some of them know, so they go and give you something.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't expect that. But
gotcha. Let's talk about trends now. This is a fun question. Dina, I'll start with you. What trends are we seeing in flowers, both in bouquets and then how they're being used to dress up the venues?
Color, pastels. Beautiful bouquets, just beautiful bouquets. First of all, Pinterest has changed the business.
Yes.
Completely changed the business. So a lot of times a bride will have a Pinterest board and she'll forward it to me. And what I'm seeing are light blues and peaches and pinks and corals and beautiful greenery. And it's just lovely. And candles. Lots and lots of candles, as you would know as an event planner. And for instance, I'm doing a wedding this weekend where the bride is using her bouquets because she has a large wedding party to also be substituted as centerpieces.
Perfect.
Yep.
So, she's saving money, and it'll be lovely. It'll be totally coordinated.
And I have to let people know you brought in a bouquet. We didn't have room for it on the set.
Oh, that's
can
fine.
Smell it here.
Yeah,
It smells so good. What about in food and beverage? What trends are you seeing?
Oh, it's like the most customizable thing on the planet. I feel like everybody is kind of moving away from that non-traditional wedding. I mean, and it's really cool to see, to be honest, because I have like a bride and groom. I just customized signature cocktails to match their colors, and they're really cool. And we're making fun, simple syrups. Like, I geek out over all that stuff too. So I think a lot of brides and grooms are doing fun signature drinks that reflect their style, and they're doing a lot of craft beer. And I know in like the state of Connecticut, we have 1 billion breweries that have popped up with some amazing products, and we support them 100%. So we've been bringing like some local flair into that. And for food, I think people are really moving away from those traditional sit-down meals. They're going for things that are a little more eclectic, things that are a little more fun, that setups that create a great space for people to socialize and have fun.
Christina, what are you seeing at the events that you've been planning?
Well, it kind of like more the season. I think we do a lot of like seasons, and a lot of people have their own like they want to do something like baseball. They have their own different types of themes that they want to do. So that's what I'm into a lot, doing the theme that they into. Or, they go, sometimes how did they meet, and they want to, incorporate that into it. And then they go big, they go big with a lot of stuff. And like you said, candles, people into candles. So it's a lot. I don't really know the trend part of it yet. But I think, like I've been to it, me, is a lot of people just do a lot of themes and stuff like that.
It's funny you brought up Pinterest, because that's why I joined Pinterest 10 years ago, was to plan my wedding. I mean, it's so helpful. It's important to ask questions. So I want to know, what is the most common question each of you get? And what question do you wish couples asked you more? Start with you.
The funny thing is, a lot of couples ask the same question. What are other couples been doing? Oh. And I think it's just a testament to the fact that I think in our lifetime, we all throw a lot of parties, but we don't throw a lot of weddings. So I think they're really curious about what people did before them. What was the template that worked for other people? I think they're really curious because they want to make sure whatever success story someone else had, they want to kind of follow that that whole timeline that they did, that whole kind of vibe that they had, because they want to have the success that the couples before them had with their planning. But questions that they should ask all their vendors is about having proper insurance, experience. I know, like, if you're talking to a vendor that you don't have a lot of reviews online or a lot of feedback from your planners or your venues, get letters of recommendation. They should be able to get you a letter or a contact to give you a reference. It's just really important to know who you're working with. So ask the appropriate questions so you have a vendor that you can trust the day of, that you know you're not going to get scammed like we talked about before, and just ask all of those questions up front so you don't waste your time.
And insurance isn't the most fun thing, but it's important. It's not something, it's not as fun as picking up flowers or cake, but it's important, right?
It's extremely important. And you want to work with vendors who can work directly with your venue to make sure that all of that proper documentation is in place.
Okay. What questions do you normally get, or what question do you wish brides or couples asked you more?
I would have to agree with Nina. Does this vendor have a lot of reviews and experience? There are no surprises in my contract, but a lot of times a bride will ask, is the delivery and setup, do you break down? They will want to know if that's included in the contract.
And what's the answer?
The answer is yes. We do it all.
Yes. And Christina, what about you? What questions do you get a lot? And you do a lot of events too, so you probably get a lot, just a wide range of questions.
Yes. Well, what they don't ask for, I think everybody should have a budget. Okay, you should know what you want to spend. Okay, that I get a lot. Nobody has a budget. Oh, how much do you think this might cost? They're always asking them questions. And I just say, I'm going to create you a budget slip, a budget sheet. Let me know what you want and kind of break it down for them. Like put step by step what they wanted and put the price next to it, and then send them that. And this is your budget sheet. This is with everything that you wanted. This is how much everything costs. And when they look at it, like, oh my God.
Weddings are expensive.
They're like, God, it's going to be that much. Okay, but this is your special day. So what you willing to spend on your day? Right. Be realistic. Don't come, some become like 5,000. I mean, you can, but what are you going to get out of that? Like, is it going to be, what I'm saying? Then you might just go to the Justice of Peace.
And 2 guests at the reception. That's it. Well, speaking of weddings being expensive, I'm sure there are some ways that we can save. Dina already shared one, which was using your bouquet for a centerpiece. Nina, do you have any suggestions on how to save?
So I was going to say, know your crowd. Because you may have a crowd of people that, say, for example, aren't big drinkers. They're not hard liquor drinkers. So just do a beer and wine bar or have a signature cocktail. There's ways to, if you kind of look at your whole crowd and the people you're inviting, there's ways to make it so that you can save money but still deliver to your guests a great experience.
Dina, there's a big difference between just going over to the grocery store or your neighborhood florist to get a bouquet for Valentine's Day and hiring a florist for your wedding. What should couples be asking? What should they be looking for to tell them apart?
Before they're even asking, they should be doing their homework. And one of the ways they should do their homework is on social media. How long is the bride? Social media will divulge so many facts about that vendor. How long have they been in business? Are they part of Better Business Bureau? Are they a reputable florist? How many reviews do they have? Have they won any awards? There are so many ways before they even walk in the door to a florist that they should have their answers.
Okay. And what is the general rule about substitutions?
Very rarely will we have to substitute. Sometimes if a product comes in bad and I just can't get it, I will call the bride. I don't want any surprises wedding day. So we very, very rarely have to substitute. But when we do, we'll keep it as, first of all, the bride will know, and secondly, we'll keep it as close to the vision as possible.
And do you have to pick flowers that are in season, or if there's a flower you really want, if you don't mind blowing your budget, can you have it? Or if that's really important to you, then get married during that time of year when that flower is
Great question. the world has gotten much smaller. Before, you could only get peonies in June. Now they're extended. We can get them out of Alaska. We can get them out of Cuba. However, you have to be willing to pay for it. Exactly. Yes. So almost all flowers are available at any time from Europe, from anywhere, Canada, California, etc.
Very good. Nina, research for caterers is a little bit different. Do you get to taste, I mean, obviously we know about food tastings, but do you even get to taste the food or the drink before you sign on the dotted line?
So typically, brides and grooms can do tastings. It's changed a little bit since COVID because sometimes chefs will now like deliver it to your door because it wasn't like they can sit across from you for a while.
Okay.
For the bar side, we typically don't do tastings, but I really walk them through different wine brands, beer brands, and signature cocktail preparations so that they can feel comfortable with what we have. And I'm happy to talk to them anytime about that stuff.
Okay, very good. And Christina, let's talk about wedding expos. What should we be watching out for if we're going to attend one of those?
Personally, because like I said, I was a bride too. I think the big bridal shows, I mean, I don't, want to knock them, but I just think they are overrated. I think they should stick more to the intimate ones. Because bride don't get the attention that they need in the big ones. Okay. And I think the more, intimate ones, they'll get more attention.
Okay, very good.
That's what I feel.
That's good advice. I have one more question for all of you. You're all accredited businesses, so I want to know what prompted you to seek out BBB accreditation, and what does it mean to you? What do you hope it tells your customers, Nina?
So I think we sought it out because I feel like it helps us stand apart from our competition. It shows them that we are a trusted advisor in the community, and that they know that if they work with us, that they're going to be getting a reliable vendor that they can work closely with and have them really help them through their wedding process.
Nina?
Totally agree with her. It's all about reputation. And I'm happy to say that the Better Business Bureau accepts reputable businesses, A, and B, if someone is looking for a vendor on the Better Business site, we're there and we're reputable, and they can count on us.
And lastly, Christina?
Of course, you're getting good customer service, and we just, you picked us, or we joined BB because of the quality work that we do.
And I think this is a good time to remind people that if you are working with a BBB accredited vendor and you have a good experience, leave a review for them, leave a positive review
absolutely.
so other people know too that this is a good vendor and I should consider them. Nina, Dina, and Christina, thank you all so much for being with us. This has been a great conversation. So we were so happy to have you. And I know a lot of people got a lot of good information out of our discussion today. Trust is the cornerstone of marriage, and it should be of your wedding too. So start with trust when the wedding bells are ringing by going to bbb.org for all of your wedding planning. That does it for Trust Talks. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time.
The Saybrook Fish House in Canton has been serving fresh seafood, chicken, and steak entrees for 34 years, offering 3 cozy dining room settings, a newly renovated pub with craft beer, wine by the glass, specialty cocktails, and a lighter fare menu. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Reservations accepted for parties of 2 to 42, and gift certificates are also available. The Saybrook Fish House, nestled at the crossroads of Route 44, 202, and 179 in Canton.